This week on In the Loop, is the new iPhone really that amazing? Or have we all seen enough?
We find out if memes are still the innocent jokes they once were, or has the joke been taken too far?
And Farron gives us the inside scoop on where to look if we are after a furry little friend.
Welcome to In the Loop. Hello everyone and welcome to the first ever episode of In the Loop, being broadcast to you live on both Facebook and YouTube. Now tonight is the first episode of 3, and each night I'll be joined on the panel by both the gorgeous Alex Leon and the ever charming Denver Nordia. So I've got to ask guys, how are we feeling about the first show?
Yeah, excited.
Yeah, good. Excited. First show.
Should be a lot of fun. We'll get right into it. Each week, we'll also be joined by a special guest panelist with the lovely Amber Rose Walker joining us this week. Hey Amber, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm very well. It'll be interesting to get your input on some of the topics later on in the show.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. Now, you're probably wondering what this show is going to look like, and to be honest, so are we. Even our producers aren't sure what you're going to be able to look at and think about in the next half an hour, but in fact, the entire extent of our programming and planning was just, well, we happened to scribble it onto the back of a napkin last night, and we're in some trouble. But hey, history's greatest moments never came from good planning, so let's just dive straight into our first story, and I believe Denver has it just to kick us off.
I certainly do, Nathan. Now, guys, this year Apple has managed to achieve time travel, publicised by the release of their latest iPhone, which has allowed the company to travel 2 years back in time and bring 2014 Android technology into the modern day. Now, before the avid defenders of Steve Jobs' legacy come to take me away to an aesthetically pleasing, simplistic, white, empty room with not so much as a headphone jack, just let me say that I don't have a personal vendetta against Apple. In fact, my iPhone 6 has served me well, and it's done everything that I need a phone to do. Calls, photos, social media. But there's nothing about the iPhone that makes it special. Apple, for a few years now, have been riding on the bandwagon effect. In fact, if questioned about why they have an iPhone, the majority of users will tell you that they bought it because someone they knew had one, and that it's simply the smartphone to have. Really? The smartphone? You might recall my 2014 technology comment from earlier, so let me bring you up to speed with why the new iPhone 7 hasn't been the most popular of the company's product releases. To do this, I'll be comparing the iPhone 7 to the Nexus 6, released by Google back in 2014. Whilst the iPhone manages to match most of the features of the Nexus, the points where it falls short include an inferior 750p screen resolution compared to the 1440 from the Google, a 12 megapixel camera versus 13 megapixels on the Nexus, and Apple still refuses to incorporate front-facing stereo speakers, which has now become a standard practice on most Android phones. Let me just remind you again that this is 2016 iPhone and is only just meeting standard specs of a 2014 Android. In fact, the most futuristic thing that Apple claims to have done with their flagship product is the removal of the, quote, outdated headphone jack. That's right, by giving the phone the Ken doll treatment, Apple is apparently paving the way for handheld innovation. The future is indeed now, people. Despite all of this, Apple does promise more bang for your buck with the iPhone 7 than anything from the Samsung lineup. So what do you guys think? Is Apple worth all its hype? Or maybe it's been taken a bit too far?
It's an interesting thought, isn't it? I mean, you've got the Android versus Apple, I guess, argument we've had for years now.
Yeah, you're either one or the other. I'm personally an Apple. I can't stand Android. But
No, I've always been a Samsung girl. I will stand by that. Like, I think it's more fun, more user-friendly, looks more pretty. Like,
isn't your story a case of conversion? Weren't you with Apple and then you...
well, sometimes you got to change it up. You got to try new things.
Traitor.
Well,
Bring back the Nokia, I'd say.
Well, we say that, right? So you talked about that you did indeed go to a Samsung phone. Why? Was there something about this? Was it the specs? Was it an update? Or?
It actually was a lot to do with the specs. Like, I researched both, like the iPhone 6 and the Samsung, and I was like, whoa, like it just seems like there's more features. It's a lot better, and I just want to try a different thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Like,
And if you want to take an ugly front snap photo, Samsung's good, isn't it?
I'm not a selfie queen.
Come on, we want a
I'm
civil
not a
panel for
selfie
our
queen.
first live show, okay? So, Denver, you have an iPhone 6, correct?
I do have an iPhone 6. It's beautiful. Always loved it. But I say bring back the Motorola Flip.
Yeah,
happened
right.
to
I had a pink one back in the day.
Nokia. You could
Oh,
run your
yes.
car over it, it'd be fine.
Oh, when you played Snake.
Oh, of course.
That's
And play Snake on the mobile. But so, well, with an iPhone 6, do you think maybe you'll look to upgrade to a 7, or with the specs, do you think it's not even worth the time?
Without a headphone jack, I'm going to play my music in the car. Come on.
That's a good point. I mean, that is half the battle. I mean, you know, Denver, you and I have had some good times in the car. We'll move on.
In other news, Super Typhoon Meranti made landfall 2 weeks ago in southern China, and in case you haven't heard about it already, it had some residents of the coastal province of Fujian seeing the dark side of the moon, literally. Every year, residents of the city of Fuzhou take part in the Mid-Autumn Full Moon Festival. However, due to the timing of the typhoon, the highlight of the festival, the moon itself, was blocked by extreme meteorological conditions. Not to be deterred by the weather, locals set up artificial moons so that people weren't left without their festive photo opportunities. However, one inflatable moon was no match for the coastal winds. As you can see, quite a few of the residents managed to capture footage of the moon as it tossed and thrown by wind, being carried through the streets of the city and creating traffic chaos. Guys, do you think this is how NASA faked the moon landing?
Well,
Let's be real.
well, first things first, obviously that was an iPhone 7 because that camera was terrible. Obviously, well, I mean, if you're going to update it right. But also, I feel like we need to talk about the safety precautions that go into something like that. Obviously, a fake moon rolling down the middle of the street, loads of traffic in wet weather, that can't be a very safe environment for
Imagine just
anyone.
being in your car though and next minute look up. Like, that would be so weird.
Like you get out of bed and you're like, oh, it's a beautiful sunny day.
Yeah.
Did I
Missed the
did I
moon.
miss my 8 hours?
Someone's like, oh, the festival's over. Let me just let some air out. Oh, no.
Well, it's an interesting way of, I suppose, celebrating a day that would need, you know, a clear sky. It was a cloudy day, obviously, so they went for a bit of an interesting way to, you know, actually have the festival
I wonder if
go
someone
through.
got injured.
Well, that's what I mean.
It looks soft though.
It's a good story for The Office. Today I got hit by a moon.
If you're going down the highway and
It's a
there's
good
like
one.
a big moon coming
How'd
out,
you
it'd be
get
kind of
that
scary.
scar? Moon.
Well, I mean, would you take a selfie with the moon, girls, maybe?
Hell yeah.
Alex would.
I would.
Oh, jeez.
Baby, okay.
Well, yeah, sure. Anyway, staying on the lighter side of the news this week, Amber, what have you managed to dig up from the vault?
Well, recently, some pretty old vision of an Aussie TV presenter has emerged, and you could say it was a bit of a crabby situation for this particular travel show presenter. Take a look.
Because 7 lost, which was mine. Not Julie. Megan. Okay. Maggie.
Yeah, we have
Right.
this one.
That is so good. That's so good.
Ouch, maybe?
It's not good.
That looked like it hurt.
It did. Guys, I think sometimes, you know, you look at our job, you know, and we're lucky enough to be sitting here in a warm, comfy studio. Farron went out earlier in the week to do some investigative journalism on some dogs, and I just wonder if maybe she had a tough time as well. We'll see
I
soon. but-
definitely full turned off seafood. Like, not a
What do you
fan.
think that going into that you get told how to hold one?
I don't know. It's
You have to
interesting.
hold them,
It's
like,
interesting working with animals, you know, during a shoot. I mean, did you think maybe he should have, you know, learnt about this sort of stuff before going on to
It reminds me
location?
of that video of the journo with the rooster and just goes crazy and he's like, "Wah," you know the one.
Yeah,
about?
yes, I know what you're talking about.
It makes you wonder if he was set up, you know,
Yeah.
like was he like given it for that commit because he doesn't know what to do. So
Maybe-
like
The whole
maybe-
time
live
they knew like
TV.
he's gonna bite him.
Maybe the boss just hated
I
him.
feel
that
like
day.
we're wildly overlooking the amount of swearing he did.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, that's
you know, and we obviously on this program don't, you know, we would never use that sort of language, okay,
Never.
guys? Because
Neither in the studio nor out on the street.
no, never. It's inappropriate and it's wrong. Okay, never do it. Don't do it. Okay, that's my message to you.
okay.
But I've got to say, I don't think I'd be able to do that in any situation. That's why I'm glad I'm going in. Well, trying to go into acting. Well, guys, as most council workers say, every 5 minutes or so, it's time for a break. But don't go away. We have even more coming up right after this, including finding out what's trending this week, and we'll look at whether memes are the new anaesthetic to sensitive issues. We'll see you soon.
Bushfire fact. There are never as many fire trucks as there are houses. Defending your home can be tough going, so you need to be prepared. Here are some tips to get the job done. First, make sure you've got plenty of water. A diesel pump and a water tank or pool is best. Fill up bins, buckets and even the bathtub. Use the water to put out any spot fires. Second, block your downpipes and fill them with water. Don't get on the roof, it's dangerous. You can fill them with water from the ground. Third, think about your pets or animals. Confine them to one room. Fourth, remember it will be hot and smoky when the fire comes. Cover up, go inside and protect yourself from the heat of the fire. Get the guide to making your bushfire survival plan at myfireplan.com.au.
Thanks to everyone for playing their part in the census. If you haven't completed yours yet, there's still time. Please complete it online or in paper form now. You will not be fined for completing the census after census night. Remember, the census helps plan for Australia's future. Your data is safe. For more information, please search census.
He's not speeding.
What's that guy doing?
He's not drunk. He's just tired. One of the 3 big killers on New South Wales roads. Don't trust your tired self. How tired are you? Visit testyourtiredself.com.au.
Well, for the 50% of our viewers that didn't decide to turn off and go to Friday Unwind at the Unibar, we are back. Without further delay, let's launch straight into our next segment as Alex takes us through what's trending.
The first item in our trending segment tonight comes from an uproar following the wake of Monday's night's Q&A in the ABC. Australian icons Magda Szubanski and Jimmy Barnes were invited onto the show to take part in this week's discussion. However, when the discussion turned to marriage equality, Government Minister Fiona Nash came under fire from Magda when she was asked by the acting legend, "Do you think I'm equal to you?" Nash replied that even if her daughter were gay, her view would still be the traditional view of marriage. This is to say that she still believes that marriage should remain a defining term for a union between a man and a woman, and that a union between the same-sex people shouldn't be assigned the term marriage but something different. People across social media have fired up about this topic with many differing views clashing as people take both sides of the decades-old argument. Next up, we have a farewell to one of Hollywood's most notorious couples, Brangelina. Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie first caused a stir back in 2004 after co-starring in the film Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Following a bitter divorce from Jennifer Aniston, Pitt built a relationship with Jolie, finally announcing their engagement in 2012. A private ceremony in 2014 saw the two married. However, after 2 years of marriage, Angelina Jolie has filed for divorce following the couple's separation on September 15th of this year. According to various sources, the pair simply had irreconcilable differences that would prevent them from living a continued harmonious life together. Jolie is seeking physical custody of their 6 children whilst making it clear to the courts that she still wants Brad to be granted visitation rights. One thing's for certain, without Hollywood's power couple, it will be hard to believe in love again. And finally, the world has caught another glimpse into the ignorant stupidity that the entire Donald Trump's presidential campaign is. His son, Donald Trump Jr., posted an image to Twitter recently comparing a bowl of Skittles to refugees. The image states, if I had a bowl of Skittles and I told you just 3 would kill you, would you take a handful? That's our Syrian refugee problem. At the bottom of the image can be found Trump's campaign slogan, "Make America Great Again." What makes this post truly great is that the photo used was taken by a former refugee who stated that he did not give permission for his photograph to be used. Finding themselves drawn into political debate that they never asked for, Wrigley, the company behind the Skittles confectionery, released a statement that was later posted on Twitter by Mars Incorporated, the owner of Wrigley. The statement reads, "Skittles are candy, refugees are people. We don't feel it's an appropriate analogy. We respectfully refrain from further comment. as that could be misinterpreted as marketing. It's safe to say that majority of the world is standing by Wrigley with global support being spread across the web. For example, this post by Emily Nussbaum, a TV critic for The New Yorker, highlighting the inappropriate nature of Trump's claim. Alrighty guys, open to you. What do you think about the trending topics?
Oh, well, let's start from the top. We're talking about marriage equality. It's something that comes up constantly on the news, in politics. And it's interesting to me because as a uni student, everyone in that studio audience would know that here, I feel like it's a pretty safe environment to express yourself in whatever way. And then we look at the political use of it, and I think that's when it starts to become a very grey area. Alex, what do you think?
I think that, okay, yeah, it has been a touchy subject, obviously with religion, politics or whatever, but it's 2016. I honestly believe that a person is a person. It doesn't, I don't know how it affects anyone, two people's love. And for me, I think that, in a few years' time, even now, we're going to be looking back on how we treated, gay rights or stuff like legal marriage or whatnot, illegal marriage. But we're going to look at it as slavery back in the day. We're going to be embarrassed about it. And that's something that I think.
Amber, Brangelina or Bradgelina or who cares? What do you think?
Who cares what I think? Or
well, I want to know what you think. What do you think? What do you think?
I think that they were quite a powerful couple in the media because there's a lot of pressure on celebrity couples these days to not put a foot out of line. But to be honest, they break up, they stay together. I just worry about the kids. I hope they're happy and safe. And
I was going to say that's probably the saddest bit is that there are 6 children involved, and that's always it's a chaotic situation for anyone. And Denver, Donald Trump. Cool, moving on.
Let's not give him the
Let's not give him the time, all right? We all know it's a damaging situation. Now, guys, don't forget, if you'd like to have your say on all of these topics, you can voice your opinions through our Twitter handle at InTheLoopCSU. While we're stuck in the business of the World Wide Web, Denver has done some digging this week to look into the topic of
memes. What do we think? Jokes, or are they deeper than that? Is there a sinister undercurrent of truth to all things across the World Wide Web? From the outside looking in, memes are nothing more than a jovial expression of humour. However, it could be interpreted as a social commentary both on us as people and the cultures we've experienced. These examples show a much more light-hearted approach to a meme, generally adapted from a fictional source. For example, this infamous line from Lord of the Rings has been translated into meme, with the web users sharing around the satirical pop culture reference, used to express common thoughts, opinions, and ideas on topical issues.
One does not simply walk into Mordor.
Since the introduction of memes, however, if that date can even be defined, the topics and issues targeted by memes, both as source material and as final products, have digressed into increasingly outlandish and often controversial subject matter. So to open it up to the panel for discussion, I'm sure I'm right in assuming that we've all dabbled in a bit of memeage in our lifetimes. What do you guys think? The ongoing effects of the meme are on not only social media, but society as a whole.
I think it's an interesting topic. I think the first topic to discuss, or like the idea of a meme, do we think that it is a form of a coping mechanism? Do you think people do it to have a laugh about something that maybe is too much of a touchy subject, or is it just insensitive?
I think yes and no. Definitely insensitive is because it's on the internet. You can hide behind like a keyboard warrior. So you can make a really insensitive one at the risk of it being too risky or whatnot, but you get away with it because your name's not on there unless you want to be credited.
I suppose it's all about context, isn't it? As to what you're referring to in the meme, if it's like a truly tragic event or if it's like just something that's happened and you want to make a laugh out of that. Depending on the context of the actual meme is whether or not it's insensitive or maybe a funny joke or maybe just like a way of coping with like something sad that's happened,
Yeah, people make them so fast. Like, The Bachelor, one girl gets voted off and they make a meme about this girl covered in chocolate and like they have all these references and they make it really funny and humorous, or people take a line that someone says and turn it into a joke to make a mockery out of them. And so it can go from joking to quite offensive.
Well, I was going to say, do you think that maybe there's a desensitization to social media?
Definitely.
Of
and
course.
especially like our generation now, it's like, that's what we go to all the time. Social media and memes is a way of communicating sometimes.
When you go onto the internet, you can see everything that's happening in the world right now, and it's, so much, sad.
It is a bit sad. I think it does raise some legitimate concerns, but, guys, can we just calm down, okay? Because just like my daily internet usage, we could spend literally hours fixating on memes, but we do only have limited time in this episode, so...
That's right, and we still have the very lovely Farron to get to yet. She's out and about and eager to explore as far as the roaming camera cable will allow. So, only about 10 metres past the front door. Nevertheless, she's out, she's keen. Farron, what do you have coming up for us?
Hey guys, this week I was lucky enough to go to the Glenfield Road Animal Shelter and hang out with some really cute puppies and kitties, so stick around for that. Back to you guys.
Cheers, Farron. Sounds like a great story coming up right after this break.
I am fire, and I've got it all worked out. I can send burning embers flying from kilometres away. So if you think you're safe because you're a few blocks back from the bush, think again. I move fast, way faster than you. Especially with a decent wind behind me. You think the fire truck's gonna save you? Do the maths. There will never be as many trucks as there are houses. And I know exactly where to find your weak spots. Those dry leaves in the gutter. The long grass in the backyard. You make it so easy.
Fire has a plan. Do you? There are simple steps you can take to protect your home and family, like having a conversation now and deciding what you'll do.
Connect like never before with a high-speed plan over the NBN network. Contact a phone or internet provider to connect to the NBN network.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome. Okay, well, the end of the show is looming over us like the possibility of not graduating due to bitter academics. Nevertheless, let us push on in the face of adversity as we cross to what will probably be my favourite story of the night, as our not-too-distant journo introduces us to some furry friends. Farron, can you tell us what's going on out there?
Well, those of you who know me know that there's nothing that I care about more in this world than cute animals. So this week I took a trip to the Glenfield Road Animal Shelter and spoke to the rangers there about what you can do to help animals in need. Big dogs, fluffy cats and cute puppies. All sizes and breeds come into Wagga Wagga's Glenfield Road Animal Shelter. After moving to updated premises in 2015, the shelter has invested in ultra-modern facilities for its impounded animals, including some pretty luxurious heated flooring. Full-time animal management rangers and volunteers care for an average of 1,500 animals each year. Their main focus is to rehome animals, having succeeded in 86% of dogs being adopted, rehomed, or reunited with their owners between 2012 and 2015. I caught up with Ranger Kelly Stevens from Glenfield Road to talk about the animal shelter's missions and programs.
We patrol the streets in regards to stray animals. We get phone calls from people out on the streets. We have a customer service base that gives us a call. Or if people are driving down the street and they see them, they can pick them up and bring them into the shelter when we're open. We do have a volunteer program where they can come down and they can walk animals, they can feed animals, they can wash, brush, just basically be with the animals, and that just to get that extra love and attention that they might not get. It's all done online, so basically there's an application online that they can fill out.
I took to the streets of Wagga Wagga to find out what people think about animal adoption.
Because I know my cousin, she adopts, and I think they almost love you more in a way.
Probably go to a breeder.
Why is that?
In the line of work we are on the farm, sheepdogs, got to get the good genes in there.
Right, they're homeless, so like children that are being left to fend for themselves, these animals have too.
While you can spend hundreds, thousands on a purebred, I think these dogs and cats are just as deserving of a good home.
According to the Animal Welfare League of New South Wales, 90% of animals can be rescued, and Australia-wide shelters are working towards rehoming every animal that passes through their premises. A big factor in improving rehoming statistics is encouraging rescue pet adoption.
Everything is so rewarding about, adopting, because you know that you've saved them out of a situation that could have been bad. Adoption centres are so full. Pets live lonely lives in there and they don't get picked. We went into the shelter and then we met all of the pets. We got to know Snowball pretty well. He was just all over us, he kind of asking to be taken home. There's too many animals out there, that they're in unsafe environments, and to be able to bring them home into a safe environment is so important for them.
So we have our own Wagga City Council website. So basically any animal that comes into the facility ends up on the website. People are able to view them online. Anyone can view any of the dogs and any of them can be up for adoption. They come into us because either their owners don't want them anymore or they just don't care, and we have the opportunity to give them a second chance, which is great.
If you are considering adding to your family, then please visit your local shelter and give some love to an animal who deserves a second chance.
What a lovely story there. Thank you so much for that, Farron. Now, guys, obviously very touching story there. Do you think maybe one day, obviously being uni students, no pets on campus, but do you think maybe one day you will, maybe adopting a pet might be the way to go?
Yes, I want to rescue them and take them in and just, they're so cute.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good thing to do, but you've got to make sure that you're, financially stable and able to actually take good care of the animal before you take it in.
Absolutely.
I mean, everyone wants to have like a cute little cat with them, but if you can't look after it properly, it's, a good idea to.
There. Yeah, so if you can do it, why not? If you've got the money and if you've got the responsibility.
And it needs to be done for all the right reasons.
Yeah.
If you don't have a legitimate good reason to do it, I feel like maybe stay away, because that's how they end up there in the first place.
Yeah.
So.
Who knows? You're gonna have a new best friend.
Yeah, well, maybe. Yeah. But so we'll move on. But Farron, was there anything else that you managed to capture on your adventures?
Well as meeting some pretty cute animals, I met a pretty cute guy who I'd like to introduce to all of you. So take a look at this clip. Have you ever thought about adopting an animal?
No, because it's a lot of responsibility and I'm not so sure I'm going to handle it the best way.
True.
But when I'm going to have the option, for sure.
Yeah,
for
definitely.
sure. If you're going to marry me, maybe we should adopt a dog together. What do you think?
Maybe.
One dog, one cat, one bird, one crocodile if you like to. And
absolutely.
Yes.
God, crocodile. Oh my God.
What do we think, guys? Maybe invite him into the studio next week. What do we think of that?
I'd love to have him on.
Yeah.
Maybe you can bring his pet crocodile or something.
Yeah.
I reckon he knows how to have a party.
Yeah.
Crocodile, dog, whatever.
Yeah, knows how to have a party. He gets a bit
Quickly
handsy
taking
too.
some notes on how to pick up girls.
yeah, maybe we can. I definitely need some tips, so maybe I'll ask the guy next week. We'll see how we go. Oh, come on, guys. It's TV.
Make sure you have a pet.
Okay, guys. Farron, thank you very much for that, Farron. Do you have any idea of what you'll be covering for us next week?
Well, I've got something pretty special planned for next week, but I can't give away too much right now. I'll just let you know that we're working on getting some longer cables, so maybe I'll be a bit further away next week.
Thank you, Farron. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week. And indeed, it's a pretty great time to be alive. I mean, we live in a world with puppies. Christmas is what? 13 Mondays away. And our first show is officially coming to a close. I just wanted to say a personal thank you to everyone involved in getting this thing off the ground, and thank you to everyone who made the effort to be a part of our live studio audience. That's you guys. And to everyone watching at home.
We hope you're all excited to see how the next 2 episodes turn out. Remember to keep up to date on our Facebook page.
And remember, if you guys have any comments for us or stories that you'd like us to cover, you can tweet us at InTheLoopCSU and we'll see what we can do.
Now, before we go, I'd also like to thank my co-panellists, Alex Leon and Denver Nordia. And also a very special thank you to our guest panellist, Amber Rose Walker. But, of course, until next week, you've been kept in the loop. We'll see you then. Bye for now.